The Smith family had always dreamed of living in a big, old house. When they stumbled upon an abandoned mansion for sale at a bargain price, they couldn't believe their luck. The house was everything they imagined: grand staircases, sprawling gardens, and rooms filled with history. But there was one place that stood out: the attic, sealed shut with heavy chains. Curious Father Smith decided to break the chains and explore the attic. Dust filled the air as he opened the door. Inside in the attic was cluttered with old, forgotten belongings, furniture draped in cobwebs, faded photographs, and trunks that hadn't been opened in decades. That night, things began to change again. The first sign was the footsteps. At first they were faint, barely noticeable, but as the nights went on they grew louder. Mary Smith swore she heard someone walking above them, but when they checked the attic, it was empty. Then came the whispers. Late at night and when the house was still, they would hear low murmured voices coming from the attic, as if someone or something was talking. One evening, their youngest daughter, Emily, wandered into the attic, drawn by an old doll she had seen earlier when her parents found her. She was sitting in the dark, speaking softly to the doll. But what terrified them most was that the doll seemed to be answering back. The next few days were a blur of terror. Objects in the house began to move on their own, chairs scraping across the floor, doors slamming shut, and windows rattling violently. Shadows moved in the corners of their eyes, but when they turned to look, nothing was there. Desperate, they called a paranormal investigator again, who revealed the horrifying truth. Decades ago, a family had lived in the mansion and their daughter had mysteriously disappeared in the attic. It was believed a spirit, filled with rage and sorrow, had been trapped there ever since. The only way to stop the hauntings, the investigator claimed, was to reseal the attic then, but it was too late. The entity had already been released and was angry that night. As the family gathered in the living room, the attic door burst open. A cold, dark presence descended upon the house. Then the last thing they heard before everything went black was a whisper: "You shouldn't have opened the attic." The next morning's mansion stood empty once again, waiting for its next victim's thumbnail concept ideogram. A dimly lit attic with old and dusty furniture and a small doll sitting in the center, casting an eerie shadow. A broken window in the background with faint moonlight illuminating ghostly, swirling figures, dark shadows creeping across the walls, with an ominous figure standing near the attic entrance. A cold mist hovering near the floor, with eerie whispers